What's up guys? It's your boy Damnboy back with another video. Today I wanna show you what priority list I would use in phase 5 in AQ when we get to it. It's coming out in less than a month now. Well, the instance won't be open till probably it depends on your server, 5 to 7 weeks, but we're super excited for that. And that's why I made a priority list with loot for you, which items are best in slot the rest of the game, which are the biggest upgrades in AQ, and just a look at the decent upgrades. So you kind of get a priority list of what loot you want first. And at the end we'll look at the different weapons for each race and which are best in slot. If you like this sort of content, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. It would be greatly appreciated. I also stream on Twitch Wednesday, Thursday and Sunday from 7 to 11 p.m. +2 GMT. Let's get into it. So, I've simmed this priority list through Fight Club spreadsheet. You probably all know it by now. It's an Excel spreadsheet where you can sim all your gear and you can use whatever buffs you want and put them in. So in this priority list we've used Ahn'Qiraj buff, CG buff and Songflower buff. I have excluded Paladin and Shaman buffs because we want to do it for both sides, right? Alliance and Horde. The phase 4 BIS gear is in this tab. I will post a link for this priority list in my description down below. And you can check out the gear here. It's the best gear you can get in phase 4, in my opinion. Lionheart, Ahn'Qiraj Tooth Pendant, Drake Talon Pauldrons, Club of the Chronic Might, Savage Gladiator Chain, Berserker Braces from Warzone Goals Exalted, CTS, Maldath, Striker's Mark, Diamond Flask, Hand of Justice, Quick Strike Ring, Circle of Applied Force, Chromatic Boots, Legates of the Fallen Crusader. This won't be the same for Hordes, but it doesn't really matter that much. Onslaught Girdle, and Sacrificial Gauntlets. So let's get into the loot priority. So I split the priority list into best in slot items rest of the game, the biggest DPS upgrades you can get in phase 5 from AQ, the decent upgrades, weapons for humans, orcs, and edge master users. So let's take it from the top. Best in slot items rest of the game. You're gonna have Gauntlets of Annihilation, and at the same time these are the biggest DPS upgrade you can get as well. And these are best in slot the rest of the game. Hive Defiler Risk Guards, 23 strength and 18 agility. Again, these are the second highest DPS upgrade you can get in phase 5. The third and last item that is best in slot rest of the game is Conqueror's Balders. But a thing to note here is that these are not a huge DPS upgrade if you already have Drake Talon Pauldrons. Also, if you're using rank 10 shoulders and rank 10 head, you want to get these as probably one of the last items. Moving on to the biggest DPS upgrades. As mentioned, Gauntlets of Annihilation are the biggest DPS upgrade you get in there. Hive Defiler Risk Guards are the second biggest. And these two are also, like mentioned, best in slot the rest of the game. As for the third item, we have Conqueror's Legards. This is only for Alliance, these are best in slot. As for Hordes, it is actually Titanic Leggings. But I must admit, they are very close to each other on DPS, at least if you sim it. So if you want to have that extra stamina and so forth from Conqueror's Legards as a Horde, I would definitely go for these. The fourth item is Jumgabar. It is an insane trinket, and it's just going to be awesome to use this together with all your other cooldowns. You're going to use it 10 seconds into your Death Wish. You can use it with your Mighty Rage potion, and it's just going to be incredible. After 10 seconds you've gotten around 350 extra attack power from this trinket, and at the end it's around 700 attack power. Just mental. Breastplate of Annihilation is the 5th and biggest DPS upgrade we have here. If you have Savage Gladiator Chain, it is a decent upgrade, I'd say. But if you have something worse than Savage Gladiator Chain, this is just a huge improvement. Moving on to decent upgrades. So just to recap it up, sum it up, of course you want to prioritize these 5 items first. But again, it also depends on what kind of items you have, right? Like if you have Devil's Hour legs, you definitely want to get Conqueror's Legs. If you have something that's BIS in phase 3, you definitely want to get one of these 5 items, you know? But it depends on which items you have. So I can't help you with that, but I can give you a look into what are the biggest upgrades for a fully geared phase 4 warrior. Moving on to decent upgrades. We have the Barb Choker, which is going to be really nice. It's 10 stamina, 1% crit, and 44 attack power. We finally have a replacement for Ahn'Qiraj Tooth Pendant. So again, if you don't have Ahn'Qiraj Tooth Pendant, if you have some blue item or something, this is going to be a huge upgrade for you. Next we have Larvae of the Great Worm. 1% crit and 18 attack power, replacing Striker's Mark. Please do remember though that you need 6% hit if you have 3 or 5 weapon skill with both your weapons. Don't just replace an item and go below 6% hit. That would be a big mistake and you'll actually lose DPS from that. The next upgrade we have is Conqueror's Boulders. This is the best in slot item rest of the game. You shouldn't have to rush getting it. And you're going to fight for the tokens against all the other classes that has the same token as you. So don't stress it, only if you want to have the shoulders for the looks, right? As for the ring here, Ring of the Ahn'Qiraj Fury, this is best in slot for hordes. For alliance, you have Circle of Applied Force from Blackwing Lair, because it stacks with Blessing of Kings. So horde would go for Ring of the Ahn'Qiraj Fury, and alliance sticks with Circle of Applied Force. As for Cloak of Fallen God, this is from Eye of Situn. It's like the Ahn'Qiraj head. It drops once every time you kill Situn, and it's one of 3 rewards, and the other rewards are really good for healers and caster DPS. So don't expect to get this really fast, and it is a really small upgrade from Cloak of the Chronic Might from Blackwing Lair. So don't bother too much with this item, to be honest. There's a reason it's in the bottom as well. So weapons is always a little, it's always a very interesting with the warriors when you make these guides. So weapons for humans, if you're lucky enough to be killing Kazakh every week with your guild or in some coalition, obviously Empyrean Demolisher and Anubis Warhammer from Trash and AQ is going to be your best in slot weapons, simply because of the chance on hit on Empyrean Demolisher and the improved mace skill. If you, on the other hand, do not kill these bosses, just like me, I never get to kill Kazakh. I've never killed Kazakh in my WoW Classic life. You want to be getting Chromatically Tempered Sword in main hand and Maldath in offhand. If you do not have Chromatically Tempered Sword, your second pick is going to be the Ahn'Qiraj River from Frankris in AQ. It's almost on par, but there is a tiny difference. As for orcs, you want to get Blessed Kiradi War Axe in your main hand. You get this from a token that drops from some certain bosses in AQ 40, and you have to turn in some Element Gemora and stuff like that, but it has a really low drop rate as far as I know. This is what you want to use in main hand. And you want to use Krull Sharuk in offhand from Blackwing Lair. As for non-humans, non-orcs, so the Edgemaster users, your first choice of main hand would be Chromatically Tempered Sword or the Blessed Kiradi War Axe. If you can't get these, well, you can go with the Ancient Kiradi River, like we did for humans. But again, the stats are not as great, basically. As for offhand, you obviously want Desting. It's an insane dagger. You're probably not going to get it because it has 2% drop rate, less than the bindings from Molten Core. and the rogues and tanks probably want it. So your realistic pick for offhand would be either Krulsharuk from Blackwing Lair or the Pugio. So basically, Ahn'Qiraj War Axe and the Pugio is both from a token that drops, like I mentioned before, for orcs. And it is more attainable than Desting with 2% drop rate. That sums up the priority list. If for talents, you can go into this link again and see what Fury spec I use in my talents. It's pretty straightforward. As for phase 5 BIS gear, this is how it's gonna look for humans at least. Orcs, you just change it like I just mentioned in the list before. And the same goes for Edgemaster users. You're not going to be using Goblins of Annihilation, obviously. You're going to be using Edgemasters. That's basically it. I hope you enjoyed. I will be posting a link down in the description below with this priority list, so you can use it through all of phase 5. If you have any questions or the like, feel free to throw me a comment down below. A like and a sub would also be greatly appreciated if you want to see more of this kind of warrior content. I do also stream on Twitch Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday from 7 PM till 11 PM, +2 GMT, Denmark time. I hope you enjoyed, and as always, have a damn great day.